Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the part two of my rant and feelings about Meghan and Harry. I'm not sure what program I was watching, but it was mainstream news, and they were demonizing Harry for talking about reaching out to alternative medicine and alternative healing and referencing it to them in his book, which brought up something very personal in me because when we are hurt and when we are traumatized, we do our best. Usually, we go to our doctors and we tell them that we're feeling blah, or we're feeling depressed, or we're feeling disconnected, or numb, or anxious, or all the above. And usually, what a good doctor does, if you're lucky enough to have one, is asking a bunch of questions, and if you check enough boxes, then maybe certain medications are offered to you. And if you're lucky enough to have extended insurance, because most people don't, then you're also kind of pushed towards therapy. And I thought that therapy for most people would be a logical step to take until I started talking about my own journey with therapy and therapists, only to find out that in 2022, now 2023, is still considered a very taboo subject, almost like voodoo. And most people, including some of my very dear and beloved friends, is still considered as a cul-de-sac. They don't want to go there. They don't want to deal with it. Even people who have the money to pay for it, or have the means, have the insurance, have the ability to go seek out some mental health help and therapy, they refuse to do so. And then if you talk about your experience, let's say for me, with my own family, when I talk about therapy and my journey to become more psychically healed and attuned, and to become more of mental soundness, to become more centered, to heal my wounds, then what I hear from my loved ones is, okay, well, I mean, you've done so much work, and how come you acted like this the night before? How come you said this 2 weeks ago? And it's as if everyone's on, they're waiting to attack you. And they think that because you're taking therapies, then you're going to be a messiah or a Buddha or an enlightened human being who will never make a mistake, or who will never say the wrong thing, or won't do a wrong action. And it was interesting to me when they were attacking Harry for talking about therapy, because he lives in LA, and LA is the land of therapy and energy healing and Reiki and whatever means that he has chosen to talk about in his expose book called Spare, which actually says a lot about where he comes from, which, if you want to dissect it, and we're not, let's just say we're all therapists, but we're not. But let's just say if somebody thinks of themselves as a backup, as a spare tire, what does that tell you about where they came in their own family dynamics? That they were never a priority, that they were never brought up first, that their feelings and their emotions and their state of being was never considered as top priority. And we don't have to be in a royal family in order to feel that way. Most families with kids, the firstborn and the secondborn and the thirdborn and the ones who come after, they all have different experiences. which is very interesting because firstborns usually show a certain set of characteristics, and the secondborns and the thirdborns, and this applies to the whole world. Of course, there are always exceptions, but usually firstborns are a little bit more independent, and the secondborns are usually in the shadow, and then the thirdborns are feeling kind of left out and ignored or spoiled, or family to family is different. But it was very interesting and actually disheartening to me that these people, these like so-called experts, because we live in a world where we're constantly judged by experts, panel of judges. Like, one of the things that just bother me to my core, that most TV shows are now a table of experts judging others. Now, who knows how they were picked, why they're there, and we have normalized being judged, that we look at it and we like agree with the judges. Yeah, of course, like, sure, they're right. We have somebody else judging others, and we look at it as that's normal societal dynamics. So this man, this privileged prince, had the audacity to talk about his journey, his own mental health journey, and talking about using different avenues in order to come to some peace, in order to bring some harmony for himself and people around him. And we are judging him so hardcorely, like, how dare you experience energy healing, how dare you talking about your wounds, and how dare you addressing them and trying to make it a worldwide information, something that's accessible to everyone. But what we're forgetting is we all need therapy, we all need help. And what works for some person or some people doesn't work for others. Some people, I know someone who had a few Reiki sessions and a lot of their pains and aches just disappeared. And I know someone who's been taking energy healing for the past like 6-7 years, and nothing has worked, because different wounds live in different parts of our psyche and soul and our body, and we should just never give up. If one therapist didn't work, if one school of thought didn't work, then we try something else, but we just should never give up. And we are shaming someone, especially a man, because men don't talk about their feelings. Men shouldn't say that they were hurt. If men talk about these things, they are the P word. They're demonstrating feminine qualities. They tear up. Oh, like, grow up. What does that mean? We heard that as men. We heard that when we were kids. If we cried, we were told to grow up, that we're no longer boys, and boys don't cry. And we're doing the same thing to grown-ups. And then the interesting thing is, when the same men are then in a relationship with their opposite sex partners or same-sex partners, then we shame them when they're not exhibiting vulnerability, when they can't express themselves. So as if we raise them just to make sure that they will fail as an adult in an adult relationship. And yeah, how dare you? Why are you getting any help? Why are you in pain? Don't you have a private jet? Because we all know private jet makes everybody happy, right? Because that's the message that our society has for us. You do whatever it takes. You grind and grind and grind to buy your private jet and your yacht and your luxury goods, because that makes all your troubles go away. Until we don't realize that none of this nonsense is going to make us happy, until we encourage each other to not only recognize that they have pain, and they have cracks, and they have parts of their psyche that needs repair and needs nurture, then our society will never change. What we're doing all the time, all of us, all around the world, is we're just trying to change the outside world as fast as we can. Vote someone else in, change the laws, just external, external, external. But this whole world is a house, and every single one of us, we're the bricks, the building blocks of this house. And until every brick is not demonstrating what we want to see in this house will be a house of horror. And until we don't look at ourselves, because what we see outside of us, what we watch on the news, what we see unfolding in the world, is just a sample of what's happening inside of us. As within, so without. As above, so below. Whatever you want to say it. But it is true. So we're all trying to externally change everything. I'm just going to get a nose job. I'm going to get bigger lips. And I'm going to have a facelift. And I'm going to lose weight. And guess what? You do all of that, and you're still going to experience the same pains over and over again. And nothing will change. Nothing will ever change until those sources of trauma inside of us are addressed, are bandaged, and are given time and tools to heal. And we should encourage our family and friends. We should encourage ourselves to take a step to heal ourselves in whatever ways that are available to us. Reading the right book, sure. Seeing a therapist, do it. Joining a support group, do it. Talking with your friends about what's bothering you. And not because you want them to agree with you, but really just get it out of you. One of my mentors was talking about conscious complaining, which is done very well when you're on your own. You just like sit there, look at a wall or whatever it is when you're all by yourself, and just get it out of you. Is it anger? Is it resentment? Is it hatred? Is it frustration? Is it fear? Just speak it out. Let it come out of you and feel that feeling. Don't censor yourself. If it feels like yelling and cursing, yell and curse. If it feels like punching something, get a pillow. If it feels like pulling your hair out, by all means, if you have enough hair to pull them out. But it comes out of you. But as long as our main message to everyone is push it in, depress it, repress it, then nothing's going to change. Nothing will change. You will not have a happy garden if the soil underneath is depleted. Or worse, there is no soil. There is no soil. So nothing will grow on top of that. So please take a minute to look around and see how we judge others when they come to us and say, I'm taking the right steps to go help myself. I'm taking the right tools. I'm using those tools that are available to me at the moment to take a step towards healing without shaming them. Without saying, oh, how are you going to pay for your therapy? Are you going to put it on your credit card? But we have no problem when people go and buy a bag and put it on their credit card, or a vacation and put it on their credit card. But if you do something like, God forbid, go spend something to really heal yourself, then no, you're going to be judged. And this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing on someone who is opening up about their pain. Again, it's their pain, not ours, but we can relate to everyone's pain. And saying that I tried this, and that, and hopefully one of them will work. Hopefully I will feel better after doing them. But we're hearing it and we're judging it. Because let's look at this man's father, or father's father, that they never addressed anything. They just pretended like nothing happened. They just kept the straight face and didn't express anything. And guess what? We value that. We call that class. We call that strength. Be a man, you know. Even people who are showing signs of emotional distress, we call them crazy. The C word, crazy. If you actually are expressing your anger, if you're expressing your sadness, if you're expressing your excitement, if you're expressing any feelings, it makes us uncomfortable because we live in the society that expression of emotions are a big no-no. And how did we get here? That's what we need to think deep and hard about. And the next time we want to judge someone because they're daring to actually do something about their real sources of pain, we need to stop ourselves and ask ourselves, how come we're not doing that? How come this is not our way of dealing with things, as opposed to maybe have another drink, or maybe buy something else, or maybe do something else. Just distract yourself from the real feelings, because that's the hard thing to do. Because that's what we're here on this planet to do, to get to the point of healing, not to distract ourselves and not to prove to others that, look, see, I have so much pain and yet I went and got another degree. And everybody just like admire you. Oh, yeah, very good. How many people do we know who have a wall full of degrees and they're idiots? You can't stand them because they're so distracted from their real self that you sit next to them and you get drained. There's so many layers that you have to peel and peel and peel to hopefully get to the person inside, because they're just keeping this facade of perfection, which we all know doesn't exist. Only if you get one more degree, only if you buy one more house, only if you add 2 more zeros to your saving accounts. But oh, don't talk about your pain. Don't show humanity. Don't show your weaknesses. Don't show your pain, because your pain makes me uncomfortable. No. I don't want to hear about your pain. And as a matter of fact, if you talk about your pain, I'm going to judge you, because you're not man enough, or you're not an adult, or you're not responsible, or you're spoiled, or other people had it worse. So this is another moment of contemplation. So we realize where we are, and we realize how we treat others. And in turn, how we treat others is how we treat ourselves. Let's really just try to get better. Not act better, but be better. And that doesn't happen until you start going into your wounds. And sometimes it stinks, and sometimes it's painful, and sometimes it's ugly. But you have to get to the bottom of it so you can rebuild it, so you can repair it. Again, thank you for Harry and Meghan for having entertained us so much with their lives in the ivory tower. But we can take something away from their story, and that's not the fact that Meghan's proud of being friends with Beyonce, or Harry is complaining about how low the ceiling was in the cottage that he was given to live in, or how they were financially insecure, or how she wasn't able to wear certain colors. It's just BS. It's nonsense. That's not what we should focus on. We should focus on the fact that his own mother tried to do the same thing. She was in pain, so she also tried to see a therapist. She had an energy healer. She had a psychic. She was using anything that was available to her to get out of her pain. And for that reason alone, we should give her so much credit. She did her best. She did her best to get out of that situation. And we all saw in front of our eyes that she went from being a victim and voiceless and powerless to a woman who started to get a hold of her own destiny. Because we all think that life happens to us. And until the moment we realize that life is what we make out of, life is what we make it. Even though sometimes we're handed really bad cards. And I think Harry is looking at his own mom. Maybe this woman, Meghan, that everybody dislikes, has done one thing right and has made it available for him, made it comfortable for him to go and seek help. Even though, according to him, he saw a therapist when he was younger and it didn't work. I had many therapists who didn't work. It's is your first hairstylist that you went and sat in their chair was your favorite. Some people get lucky, some people don't. You just have to keep looking. When you're looking for a house to buy or rent or an apartment, is the first one you look at is your favorite? No, you keep looking. It applies to everything else. Finding someone that you click with, finding someone that you have chemistry with, finding someone that you feel comfortable with, that you feel safe with, finding someone who can connect with you, because they don't teach that when you go to when you want to be a therapist, how to connect. Like, they teach you the tools, but some people just have this natural gift to connect. And once they're able to make that connection, then you open your heart. And I think that's what he's trying to do. So let's not shame him. And let's also look at ourselves as why we're shaming him, because he dares to do something that most of us don't even entertain the thought of. So I want to end this episode with the importance of seeking help when you have pain and when you feel weak and when you feel hurt. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll talk to you very soon.